Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Steve. Today I'm joined by these nerds, and we are going to be playing Quest RPG, our Ingest Quest Campaign 2 campaign. And Nerditor Doug is our guide through this adventure. I will throw it to you.
All right. So unlike most of the other sessions where it was sort of like a fresh start, this one was kind of left off in the middle of things. So I'm going to deviate from my usual recap structure of narratively introducing it and just straight up ask Ted to start with a simple recap of last session and then pass it on to somebody else.
So last session was actually mostly not these characters. We got to actually play the game show of Perfect Match, where Robin, Steven, and myself all portrayed different, ladies who were trying to win the favor of the king in a game show contest style that Ularn actually was the host of. So we got to see him, and we got to do all fun things of, was it Crow Night, Botany Night, and Mechanic Night?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun. And then there was the whole after party and schmoozing and the decisions of what was going to happen next, where I believe we had a conversation with Butcher Night, and that we were going to start off in the morning and go try and find Camp Night along with Butcher Knight's pet Clot to not only find Camp Night, but make sure he's safe, and if at all possible, Uberlu will try and persuade him to part with a certain magical frying pan, or supposedly magical frying pan.
All right.
I covered a lot of it. Robin, you got anything else? I threw them for a loop. I apologize.
No, just I feel like you guys covered most of it already. Did we talk about the party that we went to where we were talking to like the various people?
No.
Okay, well, we went to a party and talked to some of the NPCs, and that was really fun.
I feel
How
like
about you, Dave?
everything was pretty much covered except for the fact that we did find Camp Knight, and he's the prisoner
Right.
of giants, and right now he's using said object to make them eggs, it appears, because that's what you do with Excalibur, of course. And I feel like that was the only thing that was left out, other than maybe like some minor details from the actual dinner party itself and the questions from the game. But if you folks want that, you need to go back and watch that episode.
And I bet you Stephen remembers something that y'all didn't, because he's amazing memory like that.
Oh, thank you. I do remember that we were asked to be the champions of these princesses, and that Ularn had to be the champion of the king. And so Ularn was the champion of the king, and then me representing Botany Night, then Christopher was her champion. And so Sirkos was the champion for Crow Knight, and then you had Urulu, who was the champion for Mechanic Knight, and each of us had to face off against these other knights. And I feel like that was probably in part because the king wanted to test our credibility, and also in part because the king just really likes jousting and wanted to find a way to get more jousting into things, because jousting, hey. But that was pretty fun. And we definitely learned that Erlan has a life goal now of wanting to be a game show host, because he loved hosting so much. And we have established that our party intends to remain together and perhaps do something vaguely game show related whenever all of this is said and done. So yeah, that's what I got.
I had a note, maybe you can remind me, Dave, that Ularn was besmirched somehow, but I don't remember exactly why.
He had failed a roll during the competition.
Oh, it was a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And it was he had a choice of like, all right, he could have his honor besmirched and succeed on the task, or he could choose to just not succeed, and he chose to he chose to be besmirched.
Give me all this besmirchments.
Well, it wasn't a catastrophe. It was like in the 6 to 10 range.
Yeah.
Tough choice.
Yeah.
I did have a catastrophe, but that was something completely different.
That was just a civilization somewhere wiped out, which I think like 2 of those have happened now.
Yes.
We do that every other session.
So anyways, like y'all had mentioned, you had caught up with Camp Night, and to reset the scene, so you're sort of like looking down into a big crevasse. It's very craggy land here where giants live, and of course the landscape is proportionally large. Now, to give you some idea of the giants of Gartania, are any of you familiar with the Jolly Green Giant statue in Minnesota? It's a famous landmark. It's about 55 feet tall. So
I'm familiar with the animated commercial. Does that help?
I don't. That's like Lady Dam size, because I believe he like towered over the land, like his footfalls were like miles wide.
And Sprout
commercial. Yeah, that's why they made Sprout. It's more relatable. So
I
these giants are
Googled
like
it.
a
I am
50
looking
to
at it right now.
Okay. So they're
Very
about
large.
50 to 60 feet tall, and they're sort of like very bestial, and you would have known from contacts and probably chatting with people on Butcher Night that they're sort of like kind of just like predatory animals in a way, you know what I mean?
Oh, they got some Dark Sun vibes.
They don't have like cities, they don't have tools and things like that. They're just big hulking dangers. So as you were looking down, Camp Night is sort of like dragging himself between different stations of this makeshift kitchen, trying to just make food for these 3 giants who are just sort of lounging around, and if he slows down, they'll like kick at him and just push him and everything. And it's just his normal appearance is very tattered and weak. Let's see. And yes, as Ted said, you were there with Butcher Knight and Clat. So what would you like to do?
So.
Oh, and also you see that. Never mind. Sorry.
So we have 3 of these giants, right?
Yes.
So comedically, I want to, shall we say, size them up.
Okay.
Try to evaluate. It says you can evaluate the capabilities of nearby creatures or group of creatures. Guy will give you useful insights into their capabilities, strength, vulnerabilities, and/or resistances. At minimum, you'll receive an accurate assessment of the guide about whether they would pose a fair fight.
Okay. So there are 3 of them. They would be considered bosses to you puny mortal humanoids. They are colossal in size, which is a feature of theirs. They're 50 to 60 feet tall, and being colossal means that they have 50 hit points, and their attacks do 8 damage.
Ooh, that's good to know. Yes, Sir Koss, you're really good at making illusions.
Yes.
Can you do like sounds and ventriloquism and that kind of thing?
I don't see why not. There's nothing here that specifically says sounds, but there are some of them that don't specifically say optics either, so.
Yeah, I would try to err on the side of simplicity's sake and say that that would be possible, sure.
Okay, so yes.
They're bestial and animal-like, but do they have language?
I do specifically have an ability that allows me to enter the mind of a nearby creature and learn its language.
Well, I guess Butcher Knight would, if you were to ask him, would none that they've ever been able to determine. I mean, if they like.
Yeah, I guess I would probably ask aloud, and then if Sir Kaz is like, "Oh, I have an ability," so I wonder if there's a way we can get them to trick them into fighting each other instead of us fighting them. They look really big, and even old Bessie here is probably not going to take much of a chunk out of them, and I seriously doubt I'm going to make headway with Spice Weasel.
Well, and I don't really have a whole lot that I'd be able to do, beyond getting in close. And getting in close, I feel like, I'd be turned into jelly if they step on me. And I kind of begin espousing, what I was able to ascertain via just observing them for the few minutes. So getting in close is definitely not a good way to go.
Yeah, Urulu, I don't want them to turn you into calamari.
Yeah, that would definitely be bad. I mean,
Speaking of food, also during your assessment of the situation, Urulu, it looks like there's not a lot of stuff for camp night to use. Like you see like empty barrels and crates and containers that are just like knocked over and smashed and things nearby. There's like there's like a cart just smashed up against the rock wall.
Also, like they're like 50, 60 feet tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's making them eggs, like chicken eggs.
Well, I mean, despite that, it does look like whatever he's cooking in that pan seems to be satisfying them, even though it's a small amount. Although there does appear to be left. In fact, like as you're sort of sitting there and talking amongst yourselves, he like goes to give them stuff, and you see that he's carrying like meager amounts, and one of them just like sort of knocks the trays out of his hands, and another one just like kind of flicks him, and he like just like thrown back and falls to the ground, and then
May
just kind of
I-
picks himself up. Oh yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
May I weave an illusion, like just sit here and watch them for a little while, and like at a good moment when I know they're like sort of looking, but not like facing that direction, like
Mhm.
weave an illusion of them stealing food from each other, like just reaching over onto other people's plates.
Okay, yeah, sure. Make a roll to see how successful that is. It will definitely apparate. Let's see.
10, tough choice.
We'll say your tough choice is one of them will realize it's an illusion, or it's not. They're being tricked, or let's see, what kind of crazy tough choice will this give me? Or it works, but they see you get on the ridge casting your spell, so they know of your presence.
So, on one hand, if somebody took food off my plate and then told me, no, that didn't actually happen, that's an illusion, I would not believe them.
Okay.
On the other hand, if they decide to come at me, I can just go invisible.
Okay.
I don't know, what do you guys think?
I
I
think
have a thing.
sadly this is your tough choice. So
Oh,
You guys can consult that. I don't mind. We'll say narratively, your companions have a moment to intervene, and like they see that they're looking over and they can pull you out of the way.
I'll go ahead and let them see me if that's the case, because that's easier for me to affect.
Okay. So it does succeed, so they are aware that you're there, but your illusion does take, so like you see them sort of still looking over there, but eating this illusory. Or no, wait, what were you with the illusion that they were stealing food from each
Yeah,
other?
that they were stealing food from each other.
Oh, then they would be more concerned with that, yeah, because you're just a little bug thing to them. So like you see that they notice you, but then like their ponderous heads slowly turn more to focus on each other, and Camp Knight sort of like scurries out of the way because they're sort of like pushing and just grunting,
Now, which of us is confident that we can pick a lock?
roaring at each other.
pick a lock, I think that would be Ularn. Break a lock, that would probably be me.
I do definitely have the implements for picking a lock.
Well, would you like to be invisible for this attempt?
Yeah, I think that would definitely be a better way of going about it.
All right, so I'm going to turn Ularn invisible so that he can do this, and then I am also going to send a telepathic message to Camp Knight
Okay.
to let him know that somebody's coming to help him and not to panic.
Okay. Can they communicate back to you, or is it just?
Yeah, it's two-way.
It's sort of even a mental voice is just sort of like weakened. You can tell, it's just his stamina is low. He's just like, I know not of who this is, but any change of fortune is welcome.
Awesome. And once the lock is open, I can also turn Camp Knight invisible, but that's going to bottom me out on action points. So the rest of everything is all you guys until we get more at the halfway point.
Okay, so we got a plan of turning Ularn invisible. He's going to go down the crevasse to try to unlock, or, get Camp Knight out of there. And then you're going to... Okay.
Is there things to have as cover?
Oh, yeah. Think it's like a big crevasse or canyon sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say canyon because stretches out. But they're in it, so imagine like 3 of these things. It's that proportionally, so it's pretty big and steep and tall.
So while they're
like 200 feet down, and being craggy, there's tons of places for cover for sure.
While they're arguing, can I kind of, I'll allow Ularn to go first, but I'll slip in and kind of get behind cover.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna sneak down there. Do you have any sort of like powers that affects that? Or
I don't have powers that are going to get me in, but I have something that will get me out. Should the need arise?
Okay. I'm going to say because they're scuffling and so loud and you're very small, like you have no trouble staying amidst cover to get down into position. We'll say you're, however, distance technically.
I want to be close enough that should Camp Knight need assistance, I can do so. So much as if I have to pick it up, I will do so.
Okay, cool. And Ularn, you're invisible. Do you have any other things that you're gonna?
Oh, I do. So I'm gonna use my feather hook, which is basically like a grappling, like the Batman grappling gun, except for with balloons and stuff. And I'm gonna use that to lower myself down.
Okay.
And then
like
once
colorful balloons?
What's that?
Like colorful balloons?
It just describes it as balloons, but yeah.
Oh, really? It's actually part. I thought you just
a magical grappling hook that gently glides itself upward like a balloon until it reaches and attaches to a ledge. You can tie any length of rope to the hook.
The thing just floats up like a balloon.
Yeah.
I thought it was some kind of like balloon gun thing that you like floated down
on. No. It could be though. The system is just definitely flexible enough.
All right, and you're invisible doing this.
Yeah, I'm invisible. So then I'm gonna try and sneak over to over there, and I will use my needful key ability.
Ooh, what's that?
The key morphs to fit a new lock. You must spend 2 AP each time to make the key morph. Fit a new lock. The key remembers locks it has previously defeated and can morph to fit them with no.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so basically I kind of like reach into my spy sash, pull out the key, it shapes itself, and I will undo it.
So Camp Knight sort of like starts when he hears that, and he's trying to keep up and just like kind of like jerks his leg a little bit. It's just like, is someone there?
Yeah, it's me, Urlan. You might want to keep it quiet and be discreet, unless you want to serve a side of jelly with those eggs.
It's like your words are strange to me. He's like, how do you intend to get out of here? Where are you? Who are you? He's sort of like talking as he's like, half-heartedly like.
We came with Butcher Knight, and we've come to bring you back. Don't worry, I've got a way for us to get out.
My friend Butcher Knight's here?
Yes.
Is he in danger?
Up on the ridge, he's safe for now. But we really should get a move on.
It's like if I stop cooking for a moment, that jelly's gonna be me.
They're distracted now, so now's the time.
All right. Let's see. And are you able to turn him invisible from there? Wait, did you do that before Oh, did you do that at the same time as you made Ularn invisible, Sir Cass? Maybe I was misunderstanding. Probably, right?
Well, my plan was to make Camp Knight invisible after the lock was open.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I guess now you would do that, right? He just turns invisible.
Yeah, and then we'll run back to the rope and climb up using the feather hook.
Okay. Well, with all those special powers and things, yeah, I'm going to say that you're. Oh, is there anything you wanted to do while you're down there, Urlu?
Well, if they get,
I forgot you were down there.
if they get safely out, I will, kind of begin moving, and should there be any pursuit, I will inactivate, my backup plan. But I just wanted to be down there that should Ularn need assistance, somebody was there to assist.
Okay. You do notice that Excalibur, or the frying pan that Camp Knight has, does not turn invisible along with him, so it's just sort of floating.
So there's a frying pan just dangling in the air?
Yeah.
Okay, but he's got it on him, so. Okay.
And my futile attempts to even roll and assume the Giants see are turning up very poorly on my Nerdarchy die this evening. Yeah, I get that you're able to get back up to the ridge for the most part. They've sort of been scuffling with each other, and they're still just arguing and things now with that illusion.
Are they giving like straight up like, is it words, or is it gone to actions?
Yeah, they're just sort of like wrestling with each other now. It's just whatever the initial thing was, they've just been set off. So
Okay.
They're sort of like just but you don't really detect any sort of like distinct words or anything. It's just a lot of like roaring.
Yeah.
They're very just sort of bestial forces of nature.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for punches and kicks, but grappling is fine. Helps distract.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you are up on the ridge. What would you like to do?
We need to like get a ways away from here. Do you guys have anything that'll cover tracks? I mean, these guys can. They're pretty tall. I guess they can see. I don't know if they can track.
I don't know. They don't look like great trackers to me, and also the ground is really far from them.
Yeah, so Camp Knight, just sort of like collapses into your arms once you're, like out of immediate like sight of them and stuff like that. He's very weakened. And Butcher Knight's.
Want someone to carry you?
Over. What's that?
You want someone to carry you?
He's like, no, just give me a moment. A good knight would not besmirch his honor by relying on such things. And he's just like, I just need to catch my breath. And you see that he's sort of like leaning on what looks like a pretty battered cast iron pan. It's like got like dents in it and stuff like that. It's still solid and everything, but it's certainly well worn.
Are you hungry?
He's like, no, I was able to sneak enough to keep myself nourished while they had me captive. He's like, it's been a trying few days, I'll admit. And he gets up and starts like brushing himself off. You see, it's like his armor's all dented and dusty. He's like, it won't be long before they notice I'm gone. And he's like, and my greater fear is that with the coronation, they'll be attracted by all that food. I came out here to see if I could deter them somehow. It's like I failed. He sort of looks kind of like hangs his big platform tent head. Oh yeah, for viewers, Camp Knight is a knight with full plate armor, except his head is a big canvas tent on a platform on his bed. He has like a big mosquito net cape.
I wouldn't say you failed. I mean, no giant showed up.
Only because I kept them distracted.
Yes, that sounds like a success. Well done.
He sort of like looks to Butcher Knight though, and he's like, but the coronation isn't until the morrow. And by then their hunger will drive them forward again.
Is there anything that we could hunt that they might eat and not need to go to the coronation?
He's like, there is the valley to the south. We call the valley that time forgot. And he's like, there's great beasts there that might keep them appeased, but he's like, normally knights who go there don't come back. It's incredibly dangerous.
Well, we're not exactly normal folk.
He sort of like eyes you up and assesses you, and he's like, I can tell, and you can tell he's getting getting his strength back a little bit. As time goes on, he's like, Butcher Knight, this is a motley crew that you've come with. Tell me, it seems I've missed much.
Motley, speak for yourself.
If you've spent much time in Gartania, friend, you'd realize that you stick out like sore thumbs here.
Oh, Dr. Christopher, he's not talking about you. He's, I'm, kind of an oddball here.
Our heads
Oh no,
are
I'm
weird
talking about
here.
him. Have you seen yourselves? Except you, milady, as I understand it, many houses owe your people a great debt. And he sort of like bows before you.
And like Circas just sort of like smugly nods back.
Yes, I know all about how great I am.
I mean, he does have a good point, Christopher. We cannot pour coffee or tea out of our heads.
Oh, I see you've met the Kettles.
Yeah, Kettle Knight was fun to talk to. It was definitely weird, drinking head tea, but tasted good. So, do you like want to go back to rest? Do you want to show us where this place is to go find a distraction for the giants so that they won't attack the coronation?
He says, well, it is not so much what I want as what the quest demands. And that is to protect Gartania. It's like, that is why I have this, and that is what I must do. He's like, I bid you no, compulsion to aid me, but that's my intention. It's like, Butcher Knight.
What did he hold up when he said that's what I have?
Oh, his pan.
Oh.
Which you presume to be Excalibur.
So, Butcher Knight, do you have anything that you want to tell to your friend Camp Knight?
He's Butcher Knight's sort of sheepish, and he's just like, he's like, I'm just so glad that we found you, and he gives him a hug. And he's like, Clat and I were so worried. He's like, when I saw those giants, I thought for sure they would squash you or them or all of us. You see Clat sort of like, rubbing against his leg too. Cam Knight's leg, just like barking at him.
Shh. We don't want to alert the giants.
I'm assuming you guys have sort of been like talking and it's like so much in real time, you're relatively safe.
So what was what's the size of the giants compared to was it Lady Dam?
She's like about 200 feet tall.
Oh yeah. I don't know what he's worried about giants for. She could just boot them.
Doesn't mean she would, though.
Well, she.
It's true. It might be unladylike.
That's part of those are her distant kin.
Although she seems far more civilized.
Oh yes. If it wasn't for her, there would be no hydroelectric power or hydroponics on Gartania. We owe her a great debt. for her tireless work.
Hydroponics, huh?
It takes a lot of work for Botany Knight to in her house to grow all that food.
Can I ask a question?
Of course,
Why
I'm
are
honor bound to you.
giants uninvited and forbidden, and why is there enmity here? I'm just wondering, because in my experience, the best way to defeat an enemy is to make them a friend. But if there's a reason, then maybe we have something to go off of to better prepare.
I missed the first part of your question. I wasn't sure what you were asking.
So Christopher's trying to figure out why the giants are enemies with the rest of the kingdom. And why they're uninvited from the coronation in the first place. Because if all they want is to be fed, I mean, there's got to be like half the kingdom that also just is going for the food and doesn't actually care who the king marries.
They're more like just a dangerous predator, you might say. They eat, they spend most of their time either sleeping or searching for food. I mean, do you invite a lion over for dinner?
Actually, I mean, it wouldn't be out of the question. You clearly haven't been over to my house for dinner.
I have not.
I don't know. Sirkos, help. And then he just kind of like gestures at the night like.
And like just sort of like lean into Christopher and I'm like, what exactly am I supposed to do here?
Well, okay, so
while you're doing this camp night, you see he just sort of crouches down and holds Excalibur out, or just holds his pan out, and he takes like some meat out of, or some some bacon strips out of like a little pouch he has on the side and puts them in there, and it just starts sizzling immediately. And he just sort of like gives it a flip, and they're like perfectly cooked. He just says, offering them to you as nourishment. I'm saying, like I said, you've been riding and time is going by. It's not like it's not like that just happened 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the snack. So here's the thing. This is Sirkos. She is a dear friend. Her people eat each other when they mate.
Yeah.
Some people would see that as monstrous, but other people understand that it's part of their natural life cycle. And when you can
to cook each other.
Well,
there's really no cooking involved. It's actually more of a liquefaction.
I have seen a giant eat a cow whole, so it wouldn't be unheard of.
Missing the point. The point is that she is who she is, and she can't control who she is naturally. But when we look past who she is born to be and who she chooses to be and can bring all of that together, we can look into who she is as a person. And she is a lovely person who clearly cares about others because she goes out of her way to help them. She is intelligent and witty and quiet yet wise. And if I only ever looked at her for what her people do, then I would have missed out on meeting this amazing person who I'm very fortunate to call my friend. The same could be true of any of us. Like, for example, humans go around conquering everything. That's kind of terrible. But that doesn't mean
they kind of do, don't they?
Yeah. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I do. We need a bunch of humans to conquer the giants.
Oh,
or to
no.
feed to them.
That's really not a bad plan.
Or to feed to them. I mean, they do reproduce quite rapidly. Present company excluded, I don't just mention.
None of
I think
only
Dr.
Christopher's a
Christopher.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's now just holding his head in his hand, like
Yeah, you're right, Doc. Humans are pretty terrible. We just need a bunch of those. That'll teach them.
So what I'm hearing is we need like a truckload of food to keep these giants busy.
But that just that doesn't solve anything. That just
Prolongs the problem, I suppose.
So
what happens when that runs
so
out?
what if we asked Mechanic Knight to make something that would, instead of going towards the war effort, goes towards the get rid of the giants effort?
That may have been the smartest thing I've ever heard, says Camp Knight.
So all we need is like
You've
7 dispensers and a bunch of redstone. I'm kidding. It's a Minecraft reference. I'll go stand in the
I was
corner.
thinking that for some
My
reason.
son might
I
understand
was
that.
like, I bet you that's a
Yeah, we have kids that can explain it to
Hey.
us, Robin.
This is a weird game, and I'm the guide, so
Mm.
I'm not. Nothing's out of the question as we've learned so far.
So I mean, is that something we could ask? I mean, Mechanic Knight might be, a little ticked. They didn't win the competition yesterday. I mean, I did my part. I was Mechanic Knight's champion. I won, but she did not get the honor of dating the king.
He was kind of a jerk anyway, and I don't understand, but I don't understand how any of you people do this. So
Well,
And why did no one lose their head?
because it wasn't the Queen of Hearts.
Here's a thought.
And Butcher Knight sort of like catching him up too. He's like, "Oh, it was so cool." He's like, "These guys came in and blah blah." He's just telling him all.
Give them the rundown all the way from what was it, Lunar?
Starlight Knight, you beat up her man, Dimension Goddess, fought a bunch of werewolves.
So I guess
Camp Knight.
we'll start walking back to the kingdom to try and have a conversation with Mechanic Knight.
Sure. Yeah, on your way back, Camp Knight sort of addresses you, Orlu, and he's like, I can't help but notice you've kept your eye on old Trusty here. Can I assume you're on the quest as well? And he's sort of like, real,
Sure.
proud.
I will absolutely say, yes, that is, the motivation for, or at least the start of the motivation for coming to your aid. I've been on the quest for a while, and he'll pull out his book of aquatic myths and legends of where he first heard tale of Excalibur. And he'll go through the rundown of all the different things that he had heard. That at first it had gone to the Vadani Empire, and that it had been found by Camp Knight and brought back to Artania, and what have you.
He reaches into his tent and like into the flap and like is rummaging around and pulls out like a tattered sort of like notebook thing of his own that's like bound up and like just a bunch of stuff stuffed in between 2 hard covers basically, and is comparing notes with you and like sort of like filling in some things that that he has that you don't, and
Sure.
vice versa. Just interesting. And he tells you, just if you're curious about
Oh, absolutely.
stuff. Yeah. Well, he just he had that he had found it in the chasm of Clodith, and he was actually on a quest specifically to find Excalibur. He didn't just happen upon it. So he can just like kind of fill in some of the details for you. I actually honestly don't ever remember
Sure.
anything off the top of my head, but
No, I wasn't asking you to go into specifics. I mean, you can just
but certainly
around
about his own quest, and asks you like, well, what is it that compels you? He's like, Honestly, these giants have been weighing on my mind for some time, and I thought maybe that would be a way to manage the problem, but it could not keep up with their appetites.
Well, I'm not, any kind of renowned chef or anything, along those lines. I'm just a simple octofolk trying to get by in the galaxy, and sometimes you hear about myths and legends, and some people believe them and some people don't. And I just felt that, hey, if this is something worth doing, why not go out there and have a purpose? And in so doing, I got to meet a whole bunch of great people and see a lot of different aspects of the galaxy. Um, Clearly you found it. The prize, the trophy is yours, and I would not want to just try to abscond with it or any of that kind of stuff. But if anything, I'd like to check it out if you don't mind.
Now in my head, I'm an octofolk in the octo world playing in my head to the tune of I'm a Barbie girl. But aside from that, Sarkas, could we use your illusion magic to lay a false trail and lead them away with food smells?
I would definitely need to rest first.
You can regroup for the first time in this whole campaign.
Ooh. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. That's just to get HP back.
What about you, Doctor? Can you do any?
I'll get, but I'll reward. We can do the 9 o'clock AP thing.
We're gonna do it early.
Hey.
And that is 5.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm a generous guide.
Yes, that is absolutely something that is within my capability of doing.
Am I not a generous guide?
However, we would need to give some thought as to where we are leading them.
What if we did a whole swooping thing and made it as a big arc to send them back in the direction that they were coming, or the direction they came from?
I mean, are there any tar pits, bogs, anything like that we could head towards?
Could you mask the scent of the feast? That's a possibility as well.
It is.
And that's tomorrow, right? Coronation?
Good point.
That also still doesn't solve the problem in the long run.
It's not.
So what if we send them off? What if we send them off towards where those beasts are? Maybe they can hunt the food themselves, and then tomorrow we can mask the scent so it does not permeate out into where they might happen to still be.
Or maybe beasts eat giants.
Well, I mean that's also possible.
Then we have beasts
Either way,
showing up instead of giants.
Either way, we have
Then
one
they'll
less
show up.
problem. What if we dug a giant pit around the site of the coronation, and anything that tries to attack just falls into it?
Like a moat.
Yes.
Now we're talking, Lady
You guys
Dan's
have moat
wheelhouse.
night or shovel night or anything like that?
Bacco night.
There probably is. I can't think of any offhand.
Well, didn't you say there was a shovel night?
That's what the stuff was inspired by, some game called Shovel Knight.
Oh.
Some game called Shovel Knight.
Someday.
But Shovel Knight themselves do not make it into the game they inspired.
It was somebody else's.
Big
that was
middle
somebody
finger
else's-
to Shovel
that was somebody
Knight.
else's IP.
Yeah.
Did you have that reaction, Robin, because you know of the game Shovel Knight?
Yes. All right, you got the line right here in between the old people and the kiddos.
Yeah.
It's probably some huge game.
Get off my lawn. Where's my pants?
Some mega popular game.
Just a little bit. Here's another thought if we want a permanent solution and the moat isn't enough. What if we let the giants have some of the food and think they absconded with it, and then we can follow them and I could give them food poisoning?
Oh yeah.
I
Poison?
can do that with a touch.
Oh, convincing them that the food that you guys eat is bad for them is probably the best thing that we could do here.
I
That
mean,
might be hard. Like,
I'm not comfortable with poisoning my enemies.
I'm definitely still down for the plan of, Mechanic Knight making something.
don't worry about it. You won't poison your enemies. We will. Also, I really think it'll be hard to convince stupid creatures that the food is bad for them.
Hmm.
I mean, it's hard to win an argument with a smart person, but it's damn near impossible to win one with a stupid one.
Yeah.
That's fair. But it's an option. It's just something that's open because as a doctor, I can sometimes make people sick if I want to.
I gotta say that doesn't sound like a very doctory kind of statement.
Job security, thank you.
Oh, I get your bendy twisty line, but I mean, yeah.
Big necromancy wants to keep you sick.
There's no money in cures.
There's no money in living people.
I mean, there is definitely something interesting in dead people, though. That's necromancer.
So I'd say, were you guys heading back towards, civilization?
So, did we settle on, sending them on a false trail towards where the beasties are?
It was thrown out, but we have not settled on it yet.
I do like the idea.
As you are sort of getting closer, just about back, you see, like up on the top of the hill, I believe you guys had horses. There is a knight that is sort of just standing up there and looks like looking out, and then they have like a little easel sort of thing in front of them, and it looks like they're, what you presume is painting. And,
Can we see what kind of head they have, or are they too far away?
It looks like a typical night hound, but like with a big bristly sort of plume on top, and a sort of
Paintbrush knight.
Butcher Knight would say, "Oh no!" He's like, "Oh, that's Lady Draw." He's like, and he sort of, heads in that direction. And if you would to follow him, you
Yep,
can see that
absolutely.
Lady Draw's armor has like a bunch of little, what do you call it, drawers in it. And like one of them's open, and there's like paint brushes and things that you can see sticking out of it. And there's sort of like an easel hanging in front by like these straps. And as you come up around, and you see that she's just putting finishing touches on a painting, and it is of the lot of you riding towards her.
Oh, that was fast.
It's like, well, that's why they call me Lady Draw. And she signs her thing.
They're gonna have to switch that to Lady Quick Draw.
I dig your style. Who are you? And Camp Knight. I wanted to commemorate your triumphant return with this drawing. It looks like you're safe. I'm going to call it the triumphant return of Camp Knight.
It looks like you're safe.
Yes, we helped him.
But there might be some hungry giants following us.
What do you intend to do?
I was going to go talk to Mechanic Knight. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
We've got about 4 plans, so don't worry. We're gonna keep everything safe.
Lady Draw's like, well, at the very least, I hope you can draw them away from here. That would be incredibly dangerous.
All right, we were going to, but now forget about it.
I suppose you're going to leave that to me. I'd love to illustrate.
Hmm.
Do you think swords will be drawn in this?
I don't think they're going to be very useful, to be honest with you.
Be like
Those
trying to fight
giants
me
are
with
really
a
big.
toothpick.
Yeah. We're going to dig a moat.
I really like the idea of digging a moat.
Oh, well, you better talk to Lady Dan. There's all sorts of permits to make new waterways and things like that nature.
Ah, son of a... Defeated
Well-
by bureaucracy.
We have
I don't think
permit.
it was
As I
a-
understand it, that's something your people are well known for.
Oh, that's one of the areas I did not excel at.
I didn't actually think they wanted to make
Draw your
water.
attention.
They wanted to make it just a big hole. I mean, if these things are as tall as they are, they want to, dig it deep. I don't know how you're going to get a moat big enough that they're going to fall in and actually be bothered by the fall.
Hmm.
I mean, it would have to be pretty darn deep.
Well, that's true.
As you say that, sort of, in the distance, as if in response, you hear like a sort of like a distant thunderous like, and you see like Lady Dan just sort of like walking out in the countryside
Hmm.
to punctuate your point.
Mm.
Group huddle for a second, and I'll just kind of like gather our core group away from the others and be like, here's a thought. These knights clearly don't understand subterfuge, but maybe they'd be inclined to have a more direct sort of confrontation, like a joust or something glorious. And maybe I'm crazy about this, but if one were to believe in fate and the fates and such entities, maybe this is exactly the sort of thing we need for a certain glorious fighter, pointedly looking to Urulu, to claim his true destiny with this magical weapon of culinary expertise, given that the conflict is all about food.
I'm not really following. You want me to go fight them myself?
I think Dr. Christopher's talking about subterfuge, so I'm not sure if he's going to have you go fight while we sneak off on the ship.
Oh, no. Urulu. And he will take Urulu by the shoulders and look him in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
You are brave and selfless,
Sure.
just and kind.
Okay.
You embody everything a knight is supposed to be. And you have been looking for this Excalibur for so long. And now it's just here and has been used only to roll over and play dead. Do you really think that a weapon of legend is meant to do that?
I didn't really think it was a weapon. I thought it was just, like the ultimate frying pan. Is it a skillet for making, food? Roast some veggies, roast some meats.
But here's the thing. It's in the land of knights. Everything's a weapon, just like everything's a drum. It's great. But more importantly, you have the heart of a knight. And maybe, just maybe, you can show all of these other knights that by wielding this weapon that you've clearly had an affinity for from a long time. And then I will sort of look to the others to see if they have anything to add or help encourage Urulu. And I would like to try to use Nox in a different way or a weird way.
Okay, I don't know what it is in the normal way.
Nox allows me to give a combination of effects to a creature.
Okay.
I would like to give Urulu alertness, increased confidence, and euphoria.
Wow. I don't know what that is, but is that a legendary ability?
No, it's just
Really?
in the harm tree.
Okay. So that just like makes him look, just be magnificent and all of a sudden.
The idea is it gives like effects. I presume these are like mechanical effects, sort of like
Yeah.
thrown or poisoned or whatever. But I want to give him alertness, increased confidence, and euphoria. So like the idea being that like he's feeling himself, basically. I want him to be the best version of himself he can be.
Well, whatever mechanical effects is, it also, has, I would say like a visual quality to it as well, that even that sort of like Camp Knight and Butcher Knight, who are, sort of like respecting your difference, or distance, even like look over and just kind of like double take at Urlu, who just like, he's still Urlu that but just maybe he's standing a little taller, or, his skin is just a slightly different shade of, more valorous looking than normal for whatever reason. He just looks quite impressive.
If he's gonna, turn me euphoric, I would imagine he would be completely like purple with the blue rings, and even like brighter, almost violent purple.
This very much reminds me of the Boxer Rebellion. But do continue.
Back in the distance on the top of the hill, but you're not on the other side of, you hear Lady Draw shouting like, "Just hold that pose. You look magnificent." You're like, I don't even know if I have that shade of purple.
I will kind of look to Sirkas and Erlon to kind of, I don't know, I want to try to communicate subtly, like, hey, encourage him. And also, I want to say to Lady Draw, this could very well be the birthing of a hero.
I as Ted, I'm still trying to figure out whether you're trying to send me off by myself or this is a group thing.
No,
he's gonna charge in, and it's just like.
No, definitely a group thing. But like, I'm trying.
But he doesn't have bones, so he'd be all right.
Either way, I'm here for it. It's fine.
I'm trying to get it so that Urulu has the confidence to basically make his case for why he should have Excalibur, and then use it to win this fight.
Yeah, I think like we're with you up until the win the fight part.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, you can. Wait.
I mean, if we're gonna fight the giants, we could that would involve some pretty underhanded tactics, but we could totally win.
I mean, you guys did hear that they do 8 damage, right?
Yeah, but we still have 2 health after. Hopefully, they don't crit. We still have 2 health after that.
You understand that if we get into melee, Urlu's typical tactic is he just gets in the way so that somebody else gets to survive.
Yeah, he's only gonna do that once.
So we don't get into melee with them.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think we're gonna our best chance is the Cthulhu, that one of them, and that's like ram a ship through it.
But we do have a ship and a crew, and they could totally be like support for this. Like, we could go in Bunza Glazing and destroy the
Bunza Glazing?
Yes.
So what I'm hearing is you guys want my son involved in a fight with some very large, very dangerous giants. I don't think so.
I don't approve.
How big is the giant and compared to how big the ship is?
I mean, your Team Jammer's got it's got several rooms and decks. I'd say... Tough question. I'm not good with that kind of.
I imagine the Team Jammer
it's got to be
is
comparable, right? I mean, people live in.
Yeah, I would say the Team Jammer is, as long as they are tall or slightly longer.
Yeah,
which is not like they could probably pick it up with some effort, especially if they work together. So,
yeah. I guess if you're thinking of that, they would be able to like grab his tail and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, it would not be good.
Does your son have weapons? Like,
What kind of mother would give their son weapons?
Have you seen Sir Cass?
Fair.
Yeah, but I think you have to like hit a certain age first.
Do you see how big he is? I think he's big enough. He flies around space. Just saying. So like,
I don't know. I think he has some sort of defenses, right? Didn't we get into that at one point?
I mean, okay, so when he was really little, he could do like psychic attacks and stuff. He was my familiar in the first campaign, so
Yeah, I
like
would
yes,
assume
he
he
can
can still do
attack
that stuff, yeah.
things. He is
So,
definitely capable of
I'd say
doing
it
that.
actually evolved to where, like that would, probably severely damage like normal people. If you know what I mean, like
all right, so
relatively. When he was little, it's like sure, it just like was
I
person.
mean, if we're gonna use him, why not? Again, revisit that whole plan of Mechanic Knight, mount some artillery on the ship, and from far away, blasty, 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 blasty. Come in as
Weren't they working on cannons when we got here?
Yeah, they're
Mr.
war guns. Yeah,
Schubert
that's what
actually
Mechanic
said
Knight
there
had
is
been.
a cannon knight. Like, yeah, there's a cannon knight.
Cannon Knight was working with Mechanic Knight when we.
Yeah. To make
Mhm.
war guns to defend Gartania against things like giants and other
So yeah,
threats.
like that's
Dragons.
I think it's time. I think it's time to test out the cannons.
I may also butcher this name, but Anastasia Rovna, maybe I got that right, maybe I got it wrong, said we could get the giants to fight one another or lead them into traps.
Oh.
The
So
knights
those
were
also
definitely
viable.
against the traps.
we tried the whole get them to fight each other, and they only kind of grappled. They didn't kill each other. So
Hit real quick, just because Dr. Christopher, spent a bunch of points and stuff on his plan there. Did that go anywhere?
I mean, he's Urulu, like is into it, but like there's a certain extent of like, all right, I feel confident up to a certain degree, but he's also confident that he has no ability to really see beyond taking out one giant. Like everybody else is pre-ranged. I'm melee. If I go in there, I'm squished.
I kind of interpreted that as like just making a case that he was like worthy of doing something with it.
Okay.
What if?
Am I misinterpreting that, Steven?
What if Circus made a giant Urulu illusion? Can you make illusions that big? Because that'd be a really big illusion.
Yeah, I
And-
can make illusions that big. There is not a limit on
And-
size, just
And Urulu can go in and fight them, but they'll think it's the size of them. And like Urulu will be the size of like their piggy toes, so they'll probably won't even attack him.
be like swinging over top of his head.
Yeah, by a building. So,
I mean, I would definitely be down for any of that.
unless, ooh, what if we gathered up all the magic of the knights and the ladies? Could they actually turn Urulu into a giant and have him fight them like two mechs going at it? Can we make an Urulu mech?
Oh my god.
That's what I was
Can-
kind of assuming you were going towards. I'm into
Can
that.
we ask Mechanic Knight to make a giant Urulu? Please. Like this is the asking OOC. Is that a direction we can actually go in?
I don't-
Because I am here for
Dude,
it.
come on, man. Seriously? It's me you're talking to. Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. And also you could totally have like the tentacles, sort of like a la Sentinels from X-Men.
Yeah.
We could, yeah, totally. I'm into that.
Oh God. I only accept this plan if Mechanic Knight can actually have color shifting panels on the outside.
To kill your character, Ted, absolutely. All the color shifting panels. What could go wrong with this plan?
Literally nothing. Nothing ever.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say, in the interest of time and just montage, describe to me the montage of going to Mechanic Knight and Cannon Knights, foundry, discuss it, like laying this out to them and the building of it.
I feel like in order for this to work, they actually had the prototype already, and they just haven't had anyone yet to test it. And then, Dr. Christopher gets Urlu stoned out of his mind on his confidence magic, and Urlu's like, I can test your giant mech armor. These giants don't stand a chance. And then Excalibur grows to like the proportions of the mech.
We'll get
all right. So I like Dave's plan of like there's already something that's kind of in motion, but like they take out the blueprints and they've got to put in the details of like drawing on the tentacles and what kind of added powers those are. Urlu demands that there must be color shifting panels added to the outside. Mechanic Knight just flipping the table of like, no, this must happen, and there winds up being a whole argument of what the advantage is of the Octofolk. It doesn't make any sense, but she concedes at the end. And and then there's like the stage of bringing in the help of actually assembling these things, and powers used to kind of get things into place and what have you.
Okay. And is this something you're all going to pilot together?
Oh, hell no.
Oh.
We're going to help with the cannons and support. We don't want to steal Urlu's moment.
I'm almost picturing that while this montage is going on and you have like them working on this thing for probably a couple days. I don't know if Robin's cool.
No, it wouldn't be a couple days. This is like overnight.
We have to do it today.
Coolness too, but like I could totally see like just occasionally there's like this side clip of like Sirkos leading them into like really crazy places with illusions.
That's really funny, but actually I was going to suggest that maybe I could be like in our chosen battleground, like making tripwires and stuff, like spinning ropes.
Okay. While they're doing all that. Okay.
I want to discuss also fitting this this mech with a special vest that might be full of dynamite.
Okay.
Plan B.
So everyone roll a die, and for every success it will mean something. Just tell me if you got 11 or better, or a 20.
Oh, come on. Roll 20. I want to turn him into a suicide bomber. 17!
11.
Okay. It's just a successor failure thing. Don't worry, Steve. It's not a catastrophe. Oh, nice.
I got a 2.
Well, it wasn't a catastrophe.
The trees just weren't strong enough to hold my ropes up.
I was going to... Okay, so that's...
I love that Doug assumed that I failed.
Well, you looked like you didn't,
I was just surprised, that's all.
I'm going to say that your suit has 80 hit points.
Oh.
Based on those. And as you're sort of preparing all this stuff. Now they can't spare a lot of like forces and warfare and stuff, just because there's a lot of things dedicated to this coronation, but there's some. And so what were the rest of you going to be doing?
Support.
I will be blasting away with Betsy.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. I don't want to just basically just an action scene. You just want to fight giants, basically.
Sort of.
Sure.
What's that? I hadn't even anticipated that.
So does Urlu being in a mech give him like giant stats?
I mean, there is no stats. It's like 55 feet tall. They have modified it to look amazingly like you. I mean, they're used to constructing all sorts of oddball shaped armors and things like that, so that wasn't much of a problem for Cannon Knight, but and Mechanic Knight. But the speed at which they made those modifications, it was really just like it was an old prototype that, you know, maybe years ago somebody was like, maybe we can make a big mech suit to fight giants. That's ridiculous.
That's a stupid idea.
Yeah, it was all, you know, just in pieces, parts hanging from chains, so they put it back together. But it does have color changing plates and an interface where you can input how you're feeling, so that it'll reflect that. Before, as you're sort of like getting into this Jaeger thing, Camp Knight does catch a moment with you alone, and he says, he tells you, like, you know, when Excalibur was bequeathed to me, it was my understanding that one day a chef would come and the pan would be theirs to wield. And gives it to you. He's like, when you're done with it, you must take Excalibur and find a pool of soapy water and throw the pan into it.
Find a pool of soapy water.
With an asterisk for viewers, that is not a good way to clean a cast iron pan. But I'll put a link for the top 10 ways to clean it in the description below. On deck, I didn't know when we would get to that in the campaign. So don't clean your cast iron pans. So
Nicholas Schubert brought up a good point. I'm curious, how many giants are there that we're fighting actually, though?
3.
There was 3.
3, okay. That's way more manageable than I thought. I was like a village or something.
And as you're sort of like heading out to where you plan to do battle, that, you know, the following morning, after just like working all night, you know, laying your webby traps and all those sorts of things, the fanfare for like the coronation's beginning too. So like that's, you know, by leaving the city behind you, but, you know, it's much more hectic this morning and things like that, as people are sort of like bustling all around, and, you know, that's supposed to take place later that day. So that'll, all that hullabaloo's going on as you're sort of lumbering across the countryside. You do sort of pass nearby Lady Dam and come up to about like whatever her.
Bye.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's like you weren't even sure before, because it's like you flew in on Arlash sort of by her, but like as you're real close, it's like, oh my goodness, like pretty crazy. But she's just sort of, it looks like she's just sort of, what do you call it, like shoring up a big like waterway ditch, and she has like a big water tank on her back and is with a hose and is sort of maintaining that. But
Just kind of give a, you know, a hands up wave kind of deal as I'm casually strolling.
sure. She sort of like does a double take, but yeah, you're just sort of lumbering across the countryside, and it doesn't take long to get to your battleground. Now, did you said you were like luring them there?
Yeah.
So we'll say, yeah, just kind of squares off as you sort of like approach. You see them in the distance. And
All right. So I
you're
have
sort of squaring off against 3 giants that we'll get to where the rest of you are in a moment. But
all right. So first off, obviously, if we're preparing a battleground, this obviously should fall under the concept of a plan.
sure.
If you have time to prepare before a conflict, you can choose when it begins. You may ambush your enemies and take the first round. Before action begins, each party member must say what they're doing during their first turn. The guide will then resolve those actions simultaneously.
Okay.
Like
Sure.
if I were
Yeah, that totally fits for
if
sure.
the plan works, like I go out, you know, lure them, they chase me till I get to this spot, and then that's when
Okay.
this happens. So
So you guys basically get a free round to do whatever. And you know, would trigger their traps. Yeah, that sounds awesome. It sounds like it is the perfect power for this situation.
costs 3 AP.
Okay. So let an action scene begin. What are the traps that they trigger first? Those webby things. What happened? Tell me about that.
Well, I'm just gonna pull him taut and try to trip the giant.
Sure.
It's going past. It's very simple.
Make a roll.
I kind of assumed that this wasn't going to work because I rolled so poorly when we were setting up. Hold on.
Maybe you got it out of your die.
This time I got a 14.
which is a success. Yeah, I will say that not all of them, but one of them definitely stumbles and falls prone. Yeah, actually, no, I mean you were trying to trip out. I'll say the other ones, and it like brings down them all, so they sort of like that's when you
Fall
notice.
over each other.
Yeah, that's like a signal to Oralu. Now that you know, it's like okay, like they fell into her trap. They are just sort of in a heap on the ground behind you. What are the others are you doing on your free round here? Your
You muted.
plan in motion.
Oops. I want to wait until one passes by me, and I want to use my feather hook
Okay.
to climb it, and I want to try and climb into his ear canal.
Okay, make a roll. Let's see how that goes.
17 is my magic
That's
number.
Yeah, it's actually you say you go before they trip and fall. So it's kind of rocky, because it's like as you're doing that, they're jumbling.
Oh, they all trip and fall?
One of them did, and then it sort of just like took the other ones with it. But
okay,
I
yeah.
was just describing narratively, whatever way you.
Well,
want
that
to
was
go,
my initial plan. But if one of them actually falls, I want to try and crawl into their ear canal.
Okay, yeah, I mean, with the success, you can. It's very waxy. It's not far in. It's just like a wall of like hairy wax.
I have a special shot prepared from Betsy.
Okay.
So I put on this particular shot. I'm going to use my death hand ability.
Oh my god! These are considered bosses. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, just saying.
It just does more damage to him. But I coated it with black poison.
Oh.
When it hits a boss, it hits for 10 points.
Ooh.
And it can be applied to a weapon.
Okay.
So the death hand plus the black poison is a total of 16 points of damage.
Oh my god. From inside the ear canal.
16.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you put it on the end of like your blunderbuss.
So I put it on one of the actual, like, I imagine I shoot little tiny cannonballs out of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially when I use my death hand, but I just coated one of them in the black poison, and that's what I hit him with.
Yeah, it does. It blasts right through that waxy seal, and despite the kinetic energy going that way for comedic purposes, much of the wax is blown back onto you, which is gross. But yeah, it definitely felt that. I mean, it just howls and rage. You're just like in its ears. So
I'm definitely
crashing about. And you're getting jumbled about, not taking any damage or anything, but you're jumbled up in its ear canal.
I don't care if I take damage. I'm sure it's less than getting hit by them. So
yeah, but despite that, you just jostled around, but there's no damage there. Christopher, what are you doing? Oh, go ahead.
The earwax is probably like packing peanuts. It's protective layer.
That's true. Yeah, it's gross. Despite its grossness, you're also like, oh, thank God it's there.
Hanging on to ear hairs on the inside.
Yeah, for sure. Which are like probably like I don't know like
ropes.
Yeah, basically like. Dr. Christopher, what would you like to do in your ambush with the plan?
I first want to say Anastasia said, "Can you hear me now?" which is hilarious. So I would like to pick a different giant that Erlon did not pick that fell from Sirkas's trap. And I will go over to the giant and I will just prick him with my black fingernail.
Okay.
And will whisper, "Such a shame you're feeling so sick," and do knocks. Okay. And so he will be afflicted with paranoia, nausea, and disorientation.
Does it like do anything specific?
I don't know if these, I probably should have actually familiarized if these were like proper mechanical things or if it's just your choice what
Probably
happens.
not. There's very
I
few
judged that it was probably your choice because you're the guy.
Yeah, there's not. Okay, so let's see. Which ones did you have again?
Paranoia, disorientation, and nausea.
He's nauseated. Okay. But it doesn't do any damage.
Nope. It just causes those side effects.
All right. And then Success, I mean, oh yeah, that was tripping them. Okay, Orlu, yeah. You get to go as well.
All
so
right.
yes, yeah, you sort of like stop, turn around.
So I stop, I turn around, and I assume this thing is like kind of connected to me, so like I can basically totally like.
Yeah, it's just you, but a giant metal suit.
All right, so I am going to do a.
And you have a giant Excalibur as well.
So I'm going to do a limit break, and I will. The dude who fell first.
Okay.
I am just going to pound on him mercilessly.
Okay.
So I don't know how much damage I do in assault mech Urulu form, but I'm automatically successful on 3 basic attacks, and then I can keep attacking as long as I roll an 11 or higher.
I was kind of just using your regular attacks, but I figured the more hit point, the suit could absorb one. So yeah, so your regular attacks do 2 each, right?
Yeah. All right.
And
So
6 right off the bat.
5 times.
So 10 damage.
10 damage.
Okay. And that was the unhit one. Okay. Actually, what is your normal weapon that you? Oh no, you like to just punch and kick.
So
right?
I mean I've used a sword that kind of got melted. I've used a spear. I had a thrasher thing that was made for me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then I wound up going fisticuffs for a while.
What are you imagining that Mecha Urlu uses?
Well, I mean, if I've got a giant frying pan, I'll totally use the giant.
Okay, cool. So you bash that. So yeah, then it would be the actual start of the turn. Let's see. I don't want to be greedy and take it. I will roll. If I roll 10 or 11 or above, I'll go first. I rolled an 18. Okay. So they're gonna act, and one of them is disoriented.
So the dude who I attacked, he's marked. He has to attack me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. So yeah, he'll sort of like try to disentangle himself and just sort of like swing a wild arm at you. And that is a 3.
Oh, that's a miss. I will counterattack.
Okay. Hey, you finally get to really, let loose with the fighter in a big fight.
I mean, it gets to happen.
Sure.
So it's another set of damage.
Okay.
13.
Just one hit, or do you?
Yeah. It's one free swing. I mean, it doesn't cost me any AP.
Okay. And does it stop their thing, or it's just like a counterattack?
When an enemy hits within reach, rolls a tough choice or worse on a basic attack against you, you parry the attack and take no damage.
Cool.
If they roll a failure or worse, you may also immediately roll the die to make a basic attack on them. This counterattack does not count as a turn.
Oh, that's what the extra thing was. Okay, got it. All right, so that was that one. The other guy is nauseated, disoriented, and stunned, right? So he's just gonna like scramble and push himself away and like scramble backwards, like scooting on his butt, like knocking over trees and things as he's going, but just like trying to get away and back. And then just once he's a little far back, just sort of like, holding his stomach, and he's just all effed up. And the other one, who Ularn is in his ear, is gonna like get up, and for his action, he's just sticking this huge finger, which you see coming at you, Ularn, sort of like this. Oh, you're missing it, Dave. Prediction value, but anyway.
I am watching in horror, is what I'm doing.
And that is a 16, so it's a success. So it just sort of presses it. I'm going to say it's not really swinging, so it's only going to do half damage, which is 4, as you're sort of like pushed in and like embedded in this earwax and stuff almost.
Oh, only half. So 4. Yeah, we can keep doing that. I might be able to do something.
And then I will pass it to. I'll pass it to you since you were the last one in immediate danger. So what would you like to do? That was the start of a new round.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a round and spend another 3 AP to prepare my death hand shot again.
Oh, okay. It takes like a round to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're just not squirming around in there anymore, so it'll probably not focus on you again. And then who would you like to pass it to?
You know what? Let's give it to Circus.
Sure.
Okay. Let me see. What do I have here? I am looking for a specific ability. That's why
Sure,
this
yeah.
is taking so long. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to take one of the giants that is not currently being faffed with and use the fear ability. What that does is reach the mind of a creature to haunt them with their worst fear.
All right. That would be the one that is already paranoid, disoriented, and nauseated. Now he's feared as well.
Some mild crowd control.
Okay. And then is that anything else you'd like to do? He certainly has an immediate effect of like, he was just sort of like sitting there like holding his rumbling stomach. And then all of a sudden he just sort of like gets even more wild eyed. And it's just like, just like you see sweat pouring down his face. And he's just a hot mess.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Who's that pass it to?
Who has not gone yet? Christopher,
Stephen
have you
and
gone
Ted.
yet?
Christopher and I.
Okay, well, Ted, you went last time, so you go now.
All right. This dude who failed to make his swing on me, and I punched him. I kind of imagine he's reeling back.
Yeah, he hadn't even been able to get all the way up.
As he kind of is reeling, I double hand the frying pan.
Sure.
I'm coming in with a wild attack.
All right. Wow, you're gonna use everything tonight.
It's another one that's a freebie because it offers a problem.
Cool.
So that's gonna do double damage.
All right.
17 on the die.
Whew.
Sadly, no crit, but
Okay.
How is he looking, by the way?
Pretty beat up. I mean, you've been bashing him all about the head, neck, and chest, and he hasn't even been able to get up. It's just like keeping him down, and it's looking pretty bad. So I guess that leaves us to Dr. Christopher.
Indeed. Yep.
Okay, I would like to go to the one that Erlon is dealing with, and I will do another Nox.
Okay.
And this time I will start laughing and slap him on the probably ankle is what I can reach.
Sure.
Like, oh, you're so funny. And he begins laughing, experiencing anxiety, and also experiencing nausea.
All right. And I think that's this round. So I'll do my die again to see if I go first or one of you. That would be one of you, I'll say. Circus. We could start the next round.
Okay.
So you've got a giant who's laughing and alternatingly wringing his hands nervously, like.
And yet both of them are nauseous. One of them's afraid.
I feel like someone's
getting an epic beat down from a mecha octo guy with a frying pan.
I feel like someone just watched the Pepto-Bismol commercial, and they're like, "Oh, that's a spell."
I am just going to start tying somebody up with my spider silk.
Sure. How about the one that Urlu's fighting would be a good candidate since it's other,
I mean, if I can get in there without getting stepped on, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, he's every time it tries to get up, Urlu's just like boom, boom, just keeping him down. So you can certainly aid his endeavors that way.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Gulliver travel his ass.
I will say that whatever he tries to do, I'll step down the die.
Oh wow, cool.
Or that seems it's not good for this game actually, because it's like there's only like one chance to succeed. Well, we'll say you just can't get up or get away. And then who would you like to pass it to? Wasn't it?
Okay, Christopher this time.
Okay.
So two of them, just to be clear, are severely affected by things, and one's just severely getting beaten.
Okay. Does it look like the dude that Sirkos tied up is pretty well managed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you just watched Earl do like an epic beatdown.
Okay, I'll go to the dude that I touched the first time, and I will afflict him with more things.
Okay, this is the
Because
one
I'm just all about that affliction now.
Ularn currently.
This time, I will afflict him with drowsiness, relaxedness, and hallucination.
Jesus.
I get to
Okay.
pick 3 from the list. That's what it's.
Sure. No, I'm just laughing because it's funny
But it's
to me.
only
Okay.
1 point to do it.
All right. And who would you like to pass it to? Me, Dave, or Ted?
I will pass it to the bad guys because that's interesting.
All right. Let's start with the one who had scooted away, who is also afraid and is honestly just going to like scramble up and just start booking back the way that it came thunderously pounding across the landscape.
Now this is the one that doesn't have Ularn in his head.
You're right. This one had not been even hit or anything. It just got like afflicted with stuff, and now it's GTFO. The one with Ularn is, man, I don't even know how to portray all those things. It's basically just going to shut down. I mean, it just like falls to its knees, just like in despair, I suppose, of just its mind can't even comprehend all the things that are going on inside of it right now, including the thing that is inside of it right now about to pass it to. Oh, and the one that is tied up is like, it's just going to try to get out of the webs, I'll say. So
Okay.
you just try to break out of those. And I got a 15, so it snaps out of them and it manages to get to its feet. And that's it.
Okay.
And I'm going to pass it to Ularn, who's still in its ear canal, wedged in.
All right, I'm going to hit it with another poison death hand shot for another 16.
Oh my god!
I mean, I'm down to 2 points. I'm almost done.
Does the poison, like, is it just, that's what, descriptively is doing its damage, or does that, like, do anything?
No, yeah, it's just the poison. It just does the extra damage. There's different poisons that do different things.
Okay. And between it already being drowsy, relaxed, hallucinating, nauseated, anxious, and I guess laughing, and near death, it's just gonna pass out basically and just like fall to the ground. It's not. I mean, it's not like dead.
Yeah.
Or it's not defeated, but it might as well have been. And then I guess Ted, you're the only one left. So you could sort of, if you want to use your movement, you could like sort of jump out of its ear as it hits the ground, if you want, Dave, or stay in there if you want. It's up to you.
I will kind of like crawl out to like almost to like I'm using it as a foxhole.
Okay. Like,
To see what's going on before I come all the way out.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Christopher, you see Ularn's head sort of like poking out of the ear canal, just covered in like this black
A wax monster!
yeah, there's a wax monster in its ear, kill it. But anyway, Urilu, it is your turn. So it's
the one that I'm attacking, I've got an 8, so I believe that's a tough choice.
All right, let's see. I will say you can either, there's some sort of malfunction with the suit. You can either lose control of it and sort of just like the strain on you makes you pass out for a round, or you can lose half of its hit points, which would bring you from 80 to 40.
So basically I would lose next round, or
Right. Yeah, either lose next round, like your turn, just for that round, or it just is like a malfunction for whatever reason.
You know what? I'll lose the hit points.
Okay.
It's down to the four of us, and it looks like we only got one giant left. So
Yeah, there's like things sparking and steaming inside of there, but you press on and soldier through because you have all those attributes that Dr. Christopher, and you're just natural gritty and stand upness. I don't know, Stephen. We'll check that later. But let's see. When was your turn? Oh yeah, you hit it, but I didn't think we did that. Or no, you had the tough choice, so you succeed. So what is it?
So it's a basic attack.
Okay. Oh wow. Actually, with that, it does sort of knock it. You are able to KO it.
Cool.
The basic attacks of your mecha suit. I was calculating a little differently.
Sure.
I halfway through, I'm like, yeah, that would do a lot more than 2.
So I totally El Kabong it.
What is that?
It's the Looney Tunes dude.
Oh, you just like
come on.
You just bring the pan down straight on its head.
Quick draw McGraw, man. Come on. There's El Kabonger.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, with a resounding thud, it does just sort of like fall down to its knees and then just pitch forward. And the other one is just a hot mess. I mean, honestly.
You said the one was running away and the other one's
yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, it's just been using all of its energy. You can see it in the distance, but doesn't appear to be doing anything but running in the opposite direction. And the one that Ularn's was in the ear of is just sort of, like I said, it's just a hot mess of all kind of afflictions.
I think I'm just gonna slide out off of this thing like a big like water slide or something. So I'm coated in this wax, and I kind of like to hit the ground and just lay there. I may feel like I'm experiencing Christopher's knock spell as well.
Yeah, every now and again the thing just sort of like twitches and stuff, and the other one is just out cold. But yeah,
I'm laying next to it twitching. I'm like, this smells so bad. I think I got some in my mouth.
And yeah. So what are the rest of you doing?
So do we make sure that the other giant is actually dead?
I feel like if he wakes up at this point, he's not going to want any more of this.
Yeah, what do you think? You're in a giant mech suit. I'd say, I mean, you have them subdued. If you want to finish them off, I'm not going to.
I will leave it to the party.
Yeah. Like I said, narratively, it's like the one's out cold, and the other one's just incapacitated. Basically, they're at your mercy for the most part.
I'm going to wander back towards the doctor and Syracuse.
Okay.
Urulu, you're the knight here. You choose. You probably have more honor than the rest of us.
I mean, I don't really. Just because I'm good at killing doesn't mean I actually enjoy it. So, I mean, the one dude is beaten. The one dude is down. I don't know exactly what that means, but
Is the issue that you do not want them dead, or is the issue that you do not want to do it?
Good distinction.
I mean, we figured out that they're basically no more than animals. If it's a threat to the kingdom, it's a threat to the kingdom that should be dealt with. I just, I want all of us to have a say, not just, one of us make a decision.
I would be willing to do it. I won't lose any sleep over it if you think that this would be best.
Ularn says no. Dr. Christopher, what's your thoughts?
You know I'm comfortable with death, and frankly speaking, death is a rather trivial matter to me. So I leave it to you.
I mean, do you want an undead giant?
I mean, I feel like it would only be proper to give him a chance to redeem himself. I mean, my goodness, I allowed Sherbet West to try to redeem himself. And that man doesn't know how to do anything covertly.
Isn't he still our prisoner, by the way? Like,
Well, prisoner's a very loose term. There hasn't been a cell or locked door to my understanding. At some point, we definitely need to check in with him because he's either learned a great deal from the staff or has been running the staff ragged.
so yeah, I say let's make sure they're done so that they're not, a threat. I mean, it's not
Sure.
like
Orlu Giant Slayer. Giant's Bane.
If we're
Yeah,
just
you can
doing
do
a straight up
humanely, too.
execution, then Circas is thinking the easiest way to do that would be up through the nose and into the brain.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can absolutely crawl up its nostril and pierce its brain with whatever your knives or whatever you'd like.
Or executioners
Just
do
big
their
knitting needles.
Oh, yeah.
Quick and easy, because
Yeah, sure. Hey, butcher knight will butcher it up. Meat's
it's
meat, man.
just not gonna bother Circas, and she feels like it's gonna bother other people, so she'll just go ahead and do it.
They were humanoid beasts,
the
predators.
the one that I was facing. I'll finish it off. With whether it be the sharp edge of the frying pan across the throat or whatever need be done. But I'll take out the other one.
Sure.
Finish it off, I should say.
You have defeated them.
Also
I'm
going to
Two big old giant corpses out in the countryside.
So I
clean off the
imagine,
boogers.
I imagine there's all kinds of sparks coming off of the mech as we're.
Oh yeah. It's sort of just like you got those last moments, and it's just sort of like powered, sort of like comes to a halt.
big
So,
statue.
I mean, tell Mechanic Knight, obviously, where the thing is. Tell Butcher Knight about the giants.
So you're going back to the where everybody's at. I don't really know if it's just the grounds where everything has been going on. By the time you get back there, the coronation is sort of in full swing. So it's like, you're like puffed up of yourselves with this mighty deeds, and most people that you come across are just like, hey, okay, great. It's like they're focused on that.
Yeah.
But you said you went to Mechanic Knight specifically. Excuse me. Who is not at her shop, but you're able to track her down.
We'll allow the ceremonies to actually do their thing, but then afterward have the conversations, I guess, at whatever kind of parties and what have.
Sure. You do witness the bestowal of the crown upon King Knight's head. From a distance, even though you've made quite an impact for yourself, you're still not part of the inner circle of people that would be there when that's going on. But there is definitely a huge ceremony and presentation of regalia upon him, and like it's got the big cape with the white fur and the black dots. I don't know what that's called, but just what kings wear and stuff. And he is invested with regal power as a new wall king. Afterwards, I don't really want to get, I don't really have a whole lot of what's going on as far as the coronation, but it's pretty magnificent. If there was, and you're able to catch up with those people that you wanted to afterwards.
Probably a lot of trumpets blaring. I feel like coronations, there's always trumpets blaring.
Yeah, oh yeah, like an obscene amount.
Like every time they go to do,
just like you at one point you swear there was like a guy next to you, a trumpeter that just blew just because for no reason, just because you were there.
Yeah. Urlan is looking for some place to clean off.
Oh yeah, you can absolutely do that throughout the day and things like that. And you see that throughout much of the day, not at all the various events, but whenever there was there's like not an official thing going on, you see that like Crow Knight is sort of like hanging around that with the inner circle of people with King Knight.
So I turned to the rest of the group. I guess it's time to go to Surlash and seek out a body of soapy water. Right? Wasn't that what we got to do afterwards?
I said when I was done with it. I mean, can save that until after we've gone and seen what else we need to see. I mean, unless you really want it to be done and over with. I kind of know a little bit about frying pans and soapy water. It's not really a good thing.
Oh
It's a
dear.
magic frying pan.
Maybe it was Camp Knight mistaken.
I doubt it. He knew a lot more than I did about the legend. Perhaps
After having wielded it now and understood more about Excalibur intuitively, you know that I'll say this stuff later, but you know that it needs no fire to cook inside and cooks food perfectly every time. Whosoever wields Excalibur is immune to ingested poisons and toxins. And on a triumph, a grease fire pops out and erupts from the pan, dealing 4 additional damage.
nice.
That's really cool.
It's really cool.
Oh,
And I was just looking for a magic frying pan.
yeah.
Well, you found it. Did you say you were checking in with Eyelash, Dave? I thought it. So
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying, maybe the next 2 sessions we spend looking for the body of soapy water.
Well, I mean, we've also have the potential to go look for Sirkas's memories, look for Nub Nub and Augustus. I mean, I would not say no to saying hi to the Bopi people.
Well, on board Eyelash, if you were to check in, you find that what's mainly occupying people's attention is that Sorghum has become catatonic, and Dr. West has sort of been treating him. Sorghum is the one to whom that emerald gem had sort of started following him around.
Oh no. Dr. West, what's going on?
You catch up with Dr. West sort of in the galley, and he's just sort of like drinking coffee and like just going over his texts and the Necronomicon as well, just for answers. Just like, I don't know. He's like, Sorghum just went blank, for lack of a better term, and that strange gem continues to float near him, but it's grown dim, and like the light around, and it's sort of hovering there. I haven't been able to communicate with him or discern anything. I thought maybe the book would have answers. Perhaps if you let me look at the Gastronomicon, I might find the answers there.
Did you not think to diagnose him?
It's like, I didn't do as well in medical school as you. Why do you think I pursued other arts?
It's a basic necromancy thing. You're really bad at this. And he will diagnose.
Never mind. What's that? No.
So Christopher will diagnose. That is a point. It's like a thing he can do.
You diagnose that Sorghum, his body is there, but his mind is elsewhere. And you can sort of detect a tether to that gem that is sort of just hovering above his head, weakly, faintly glowing now. The green gem.
Okay. I will communicate that to everyone. Sirkas, you're more magically and mystically inclined. Maybe you can help. It seems that his mind is connected, and that feels more in your sphere. And
So
I'll
I
come
will
take that
go ahead and see what I can see.
As you sort of like open your mind and stretch out to those things, you're immediately drawn into, like, your vision sort of turns like a greenish hue, and you feel like you're being pulled forward.
Oh, I immediately stopped doing that.
Okay.
I think he's in the gym.
He's
Make a roll, and it's not to be trapped or anything. I just want to check your mental acuity.
Just Womp. That's gonna be a 5, sir.
Okay. There's no danger or anything. I was just curious about that.
When you say he's in the gem,
This is just a theory. All I know is that like when I started linking up mines, all I saw was green and I felt myself being pulled, and I'm going to gesture to the gem. That seems like a likely suspect.
Yeah, as you sort of gesture to, like, the little faint lights are just like a little bit, as if it's like acknowledging that. What you
I want to
like,
grab the
responding.
gem and hold it up to my eye and try and look in it.
It feels like it has like like how a magnet feels when you're trying to, pull them apart. It has that feel to it, and it's like it doesn't want to give, and just under normal, like, trying to grab it, circumstances. So it sort of like moves a little bit, but you can't just like swipe it out of the air.
Then I'll
But you
move.
can certainly look closer to it.
Then I go right up to it, like I try and like hold it with my fingers and like peer into it with one eye.
Make a roll.
I can certainly do that. It's a 16.
So yeah, you sort of like, for a moment, it just looks like, facets and light, and you can see like distorted version of other people in the room and stuff beyond. But then you're like sort of peering closer, and it looks like a sort of like a veil parts, and there's like big arborean like trees, and you see like kind of like stone sculptures and like a big rounded shapes and stuff, like, in clearings and like poking out in little groves and stuff. It just looks like, your mind's just, or not your mind, because you're just looking in there, but you just sort of get that sense of like there's some sort of tree world in there.
There's trees and buildings and all kinds of things in there. Maybe we got to go in and pull them out.
wait, Urulu,
Yeah.
you remember when we went into that elvish afterlife?
Uh-huh.
And I'll look into the thing and then hand it to Urulu to look. I don't know if I need to make a roll or not.
No, I mean, he's described it. You can, you sort of like stare for a moment, and you can see what Udlion is describing, but it doesn't look like that.
Okay, so
That looked more like a beachy tropical thing. This just looks like a dense, like, arboreal forest.
okay,
Actually, you know what? If you want to make a roll, we'll see if you get a triumph.
sure.
And
That is not even a tough choice. That is a failure, sir.
It was just
4.
a success.
I rolled a 4 as well.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, you see what Udlion was describing, but
I was hoping for a catastrophe personally. When I rolled.
that would have been cool.
Funny, but
I was kind of as well.
So I mean, looks like a jungle. I mean, do we go in and try and see what it is, or do we not?
I definitely think we need to go in there. How do you get in? I'm like poking at it.
How would we go about going in there?
I can think of several ways.
Can you magic us in?
Have reservations about this.
He's a
I
crew
think-
member. We got to help him.
Okay. I can see I am outvoted here. I will go along with this. Just this is me putting my dissent on the table so you all know I said this was a bad idea before it turns out to be a bad idea.
Do you have a better idea?
No.
I was really hoping you'd have a better idea because I also think it's a bad idea.
What else can we do?
Cry. Throw a party. I mean, I don't know. How does one respond to these sorts of things?
With gusto?
That was a very Urulu thing to say.
So yeah, with your abilities, Circus, you can certainly draw everyone into this
All right.
sort of construct if you'd like. I'm just
No, I
making
know.
it
I
clear.
like if that is what we want to do, then I will facilitate this.
That is one. That is actually one possibility I thought of two.
Sure. I mean, I trust you implicitly.
We're going on an
excited.
adventure.
All right, Uberloom.
Do it.
All right.
All right, we go in.
So yes, relying on Sir Cass's mental acuity, you are drawn into this emerald gem, and that sort of pulling feeling you all feel, and you're as you sort of like give yourself over to Sir Cass, you feel like a familiarity of a sort that draws your mind through that same scenes of like all these forces. You just see a lot of like looks like just simple sculptures and things, like a lot of round shapes and markings that you actually do understand, and comes into focus of why you understand that as your minds sort of like slow down and stop before this little gathering of these small like furry humanoids that look vaguely familiar to you, and they're all just sort of like looking at each other and you and saying like nup 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 nup,
Oh.
and like sort of like looking up at you all, and they're all just sort of agitated and things, and then you hear like they all sort of like start to quiet down, and you see a familiar one of these come out, walking out of this throng that sort of parts for him, and it is your old friend Nub Nub. And he he's like, well, I was sort of wondering if you'd come along at some point or another. Like, it's good to see you again, if you remember me anyway. You said you might not the last time we saw each other.
I remember you.
Oh,
Do you know what's going on
good.
here?
Here? Well, this is where Bopi exists now.
What?
He's like, don't you remember? He's like, after our adventures in the weird, we all started to get a funny feeling about Augustus and his crazy plan to change the universe into flan. Don't you remember?
No.
He's like, yeah, it worked. Whatever he was planning, the whole Bopi planet was consumed in Flanergy, but we were able to channel our consciousness into this gem before the planet was just turned into pure Flanergy.
I'm gonna need to sit down and take a minute to process this.
He says, yeah, you learned through the Gastronomicon that only cosmic fire would be powerful enough to curdle the Flanergy. That's why you ensorcelled the red stick with all that heat power, don't you remember? From that star that we made friends with?
No, not even remotely. All I remember was that I was looking for a star.
Yeah, you found it. Years ago. He's like, and then we hid the red stick. We left it with the guardian you said you had a real strange connection with.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about this.
It's like he's like, I could tell your journey's taking quite a toll on you. He's like, here, why don't you sit down and rest for a minute? I'll explain everything.
Okay. And I do. I absolutely sit down because what?
And that's where we'll pick up with next week.
Yes, thank you for running. Thank everyone for playing, and thank you folks for watching. Can't wait to see what happens with the Nub Nub people.
The Bopi people.
Yes, the Bopi people.
Nub Nub people. And it's still and they're definitely not Ewoks. With that, until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Nerdy.